let's give Indiana all the credit in the world for what they did. Number one, they didn't turn the ball over. In fact, the game's only turnover was the Jamari Sharp interception near the end of the game.
That was a great game of football.
It was. I thought the first half was kind of flat.
Mm-hmm.
But defense will do that. It'll make it flat.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of fun to watch a big stakes game with one turnover after watching the NFL over the weekend, which had 21.
I believe C.J. Stroud in 2 playoff games had 8 turnovers on his own, if not more than that. He may have gone for more than that. I could be wrong.
But see, this is where this, and I'll get to the Caleb Williams thing in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's a gutsy call by Cignetti on 4th and 5 to go for it.
And
because a field goal, you're kind of doing the math at that point. And you know that because we'll get to the Bears in a moment.
We'll get to the NFL in a little bit.
Yeah. It's amazing how analytics can lose you games.
Yes. But it's also amazing how players can win you games in this case, going 4th and 5 and saying, we're calling the quarterback's number.
Now, Jack Ham and I talked about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, incredible call. I said, the weird thing is, Jack, is that when I kept thinking, go for it, and I would run a quarterback draw.
Mm-hmm.
He says, let me ask you, he said, why would you why were you thinking quarterback draw there? He says, I'm just interested. I said, because you and I both know he can run it, but they haven't run it all night. And he goes, exactly. Now, watch how he runs it. If you're a young, inexperienced player, you're going to get it, boom, and you want to go, right? But notice how he ran it as a senior. Got the snap, and Michael Robinson was great at this. Went back and very patiently and then took off.
As soon as he saw the play had developed to the point where he felt comfortable going, he then followed his blockers down.
He sold that he might throw it first as to how he did it, and he did it in a way where he didn't rush. The old John Wooden, okay, be quick, don't hurry, right? Well, he didn't hurry. And then when he took it off, and again, they had changed how they block it, and they'd already put the play in, so they'd already changed how they block it. So they didn't give away how they were doing it. Now, he's got the first down. So if he gets, before he goes airborne, he already has the first down. But then he pulls the Elway and goes airborne, and that just tells you about the desire of him to win. He was going to sacrifice his body to get to the end zone.
And he took a shot at the end of it. He
got tagged.
When he crossed the goal line, he got hit in the back in the middle of it, and he held onto that ball and landed and got up like nothing happened.
Right, he got tagged. I mean, it's like, it was one of those like, okay, we already know why he won the Heisman Trophy, but all that did was cement the fact that he's the Heisman Trophy winner. It was just a great play on a night where he didn't throw the ball all that well. I mean, Becker bailed him out with a couple of really terrific catches, but Becker's been like that since the entering the Maryland game November 1st. That's how he's played.
And I wanted to highlight the Becker part. So they targeted Becker on, I believe he caught 2 catches in the game, or he had 4 catches. The 2 plays they targeted him specifically on the back shoulder throws. They threw it to Becker, both places.
They're sort of back shoulder.
Sort of back. One of them was a back shoulder throw. The other one was kind of a throw.
I don't know.
I
don't know what that was.
But they targeted him when he had the freshman Ethan O'Connor on him.
But again, remember what I said about the Penn State Indiana game that I really liked. That the first play of the second half was a deep pass to Devontae Ross. What I didn't like was that they had him against Pons. Right? I said, no, you want the matchup on the other side against Sharp. Oh, well, Sharp had the interception in the end. No offense. He's there, but it's like
Pons is...
Okay, let me put it this way. Marion hasn't beat on the play. Okay, let's start with that. That's why you go with Sharp. He's not in the same category as Pons. So now let's go back to the matchup part. Okay, That's the best matchup on the field, and Indiana did a great job. Shanahan did a great job of identifying matchups. Because at this point, okay, Lucas is in the game.
Yeah, he was back in it.
Right? He's in the game. You don't want to really go over there. Okay? But you want to go to the right with O'Connor. That's, okay, football's about matchups. And I've always told the story, but I'll repeat it again. I walk into the conference room in football downstairs. There's plays up on the board, and Joe Paterno looks at me. I'm just looking over at the plays, whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. And Joe says, hey, Steve, let me tell you. He says, you want to know how I know the success of this play? He says, if you can tell me the name of that X and the name of that O, he says, I'll tell you whether it has a chance to be successful or not. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they did here. The O was Becker. The X was O'Connor. They had a better chance of success there, and it paid off. And that's what it's about. Penalties. I had mentioned last week that penalties were going to be an issue for Miami in this game because penalties have been an issue for this team all season. For the most part, Indiana has been a disciplined football team all the way through. Mm-hmm. They play good defense. They have a good running game, and they're disciplined. Now, the discipline went out the door when they had Hemby gets the 9 yards.
Yeah.
He gets the 9 yards.
Second and 1, 1 yard, game over, basically.
Right. Well, but I'm sitting there thinking, that's perfect. Right? If you got the first down, right, now it's 2nd and 1. I can just get the first down. And then Carter Smith, of all people.
Yeah.
And no, I did vote him first team Big Ten. I did not vote him lineman of the year. I know he won it, but he's not the guy I voted for.
But the point was, he's
one of their
incredible
best
offensive lineman.
He's one of their best. He moves. You're like,
oh God,
of all the times.
And 2nd and 6, and then I believe they ran a play and they got 1 yard or they lost a yard or two, and it was long,
right?
Because the front of Miami played an incredible game. I mean, Mesidor, Bain, Moten.
I'll tell you right now. Bain is a pain. And he is just, in watching the playoff, because, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I watched a ton of Miami football during the year. I watched the Miami-Notre Dame game, and I saw a little bit of the Louisville game, and I saw a little bit of the James Madison game. All right, okay, all right. And they didn't play James Madison. They played South Florida, right? I saw some of that game, right? But now I'm watching the playoff, and this guy is, I mean, you're talking about a first-round draft choice terror.
Him and Mesidor are both going to be first-round guys.
Really
they were
good too.
3 sacks, 4.5 tackles for loss. Yeah. And then you add in Moten in the middle, who was just, they were a force. And I know coaching stuff is going on. Jason Taylor has made those guys into monsters.
That's right. He's done a great job with them. You know, he has great talent. One of the first things you do with great talent is you don't foul it up. You don't overcoach it, but you don't undercoach it either. Okay, you don't just roll the ball out. You coach them, but you don't overcoach them. You let them be them out there. And you see, and one of the things they do strategically is you see how wide they put their defensive end. I mean, for a tackle, I mean, you need Google Maps to get over to the guy.
Yeah.
Now the block punt.
I wanted to ask you about this. So the block punt, Kamara comes off the edge. He basically has a straight shot. It's between him and I think 87 for Miami.
87, the tight end.
And he just lets him go.
Okay. Here's the thing. Indiana is setting a return. This is not a punt block.
This is just a normal situation.
I mean, and he's not, and this time he decides not to rugby punt it. Right? And he just, like, there's one guy. Like, what are the choices here? Your job is to get that guy, right? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he puts on the Matador hat, grabs a cape, and goes, oh, hey. Right? And he blocks it. It happened here at Penn State, 2009. And it's the year Iowa went to the Orange Bowl, ironically. Adrian Claiborne, who played for years in the NFL, they have a return on, just like Indiana did. He rushes the punter, blocks the punt. They run it back for a touchdown. Oh my God. I look at Jack and I are looking at each other like they only rushed 4 guys. right? The other three are picked up. He comes in, right? And then just to add insult to injury, this is back when Fox had the BCS games, right? They're previewing. I was playing in the Orange Bowl. They're doing this big preview. They use my call, although I'm like, oh, that's just great. I'm really good at other teams' calls. It's like this year ESPN used the Tiedemann interception in overtime. I'm going, why do they always keep using mine when Penn State doesn't win? It's like, what are we doing here?
But
Kamara, I'm just saying, but that's what happens when you are sloppy. Penn State that night in 2009 was sloppy. Miami, in the biggest game, where you've got to be the most precise, is sloppy.
And I believe Chris Fowler mentioned it on the broadcast that his spotter had said it was 2.7 seconds, 2.7 for him to get the punt off, which they said is longer than it normally is for the punter. And then also, they didn't block Kamara, but it was, my point is, it was, the punter took longer, and for some reason, the one of all the players on that front for Indiana that are trying to go block a punt, of all players, who are you going to say, this is the guy we most need to block? It's probably the guy who's one of Indiana's best edge rushers, who's standing there rushing the edge. Kamara, really talented player. And you're saying, 87 looks at him and then looks off him right arm, casually.
It's a nice little thing to throw in. It took 2.7 seconds. That's fine. It has nothing to do with the block punt. He came in essentially
unblocked,
unabated. He could have gone in 1.7, and I think he still would have had it because he blocked it with his forearm.
Oh my gosh!
Right? You get into big games like that, you have to be so precise with what you're doing. And Miami was not precise.
No.
They were not precise. Too many penalties. And look, how do I phrase this? Carson Beck is a decent to good college quarterback. A year ago, before he got hurt, they're touting him as the potential number 1 overall pick. Every Georgia game I watch, I'm thinking, he's the number 1 overall pick? Because I just am not big on him. It's not personal. I don't know the guy at all. Do you think he's bringing them back in the end? I don't.
I felt like the only chance Miami had was their defensive front just getting after Fernando Mendoza and being the ones to win them the game. That was where my thought was this game is going to be decided by the Miami front being able to get home enough on Mendoza, and they couldn't. And that's not a bad thing on Miami's defensive front line. That's just
Miami's
the only chance they had was that defensive front getting a strip sack. That was them forcing a fumble. Like, it was them having to do something extraordinary, which they got real close to quite a lot.
They did a great job, but what did Miami do all night long? They played with the lead.
Or Indiana did.
I'm talking about Indiana. Indiana played all night with the lead. Okay? Miami was in chase mode all night long. You're chasing.
It felt like Miami in the second half.
I can't begin to tell you what it means over and over again. It's something simple as playing with the lead and what it means. Because now, strategically, you're thinking about, I'm playing with the lead, right? And your decision-making when you're playing behind becomes a little more, there's a little more sense of urgency in your decision-making when you're constantly playing behind.
Can I go through the first 3 quarters for Miami in terms of their plays, I guess, and going through their drives? So, of course, the first quarter was just a quarter to be had. Punt, missed field goal, which I was sitting there, and because of you, I've learned to see if a kicker's confident or not. And I said, he's going to miss. My girlfriend said, no, he's going to make it. And then all of a sudden, doink, and I said he missed it. I was like, he did not look confident in the kick. He looked nervous, and then he boots it off the upright. So, missed field goal, end of half. To start the third quarter, of course, punt by Indiana, then the touchdown from Fletcher, which was a moment of brilliance. It
was outstanding.
He was outstanding, and then punt, and then the blocked punt for the touchdown for Indiana. That ended the third quarter. All of a sudden, fourth quarter comes around, and that was the only quarter where Miami's offense could do anything.
Yes.
Because they went on that 10-play, 81-yard drive where they get the ball, they just kind of move it downfield, they have these third and longs, they convert them, Fletcher runs it in, touchdown, okay. Miami's somewhat back in the game. But then, what did you say in the Indiana-Oregon game? The biggest moment was when Indiana gets the ball after Tiedemann touchdown, or
no, it was Brandon Finney.
Finney touchdown. Indiana, 12 plays, 75 yards, 5 minutes 39. They walk it down, touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Miami gets the ball, 8 plays, 91 yards, touchdown, and they cruise downfield. And then Indiana gets the ball, runs 5 minutes off the clock, hits a field goal to give them the 6-point lead, and says, okay, Miami, you need to score a touchdown.
Right.
So they knew they were going to have to take a shot at some point, and they put it in a position where they took a shot after a penalty.
Thanks for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones. Catch the latest from me on the 7 Mountain Sports YouTube page. Find clips of the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by searching up 7 Mountain Sports.